So you want to buy the cheapest Lamborghini. Most people think this is the dream done smart. A real raging bull, the V10 howl, the scissor-adjacent drama, all for the price of a nice pickup truck. It really isn't, to be honest. It's the single most dangerous purchase in the entire supercar world. A car that costs almost nothing to buy and can quietly cost you a fortune to keep. And by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why the bargain is the trap. Subscribe now, because the cheapest way into Lamborghini ownership is also the fastest and most expensive way to learn why almost nobody who does it the lazy way stays there for long. Let's start with the number that pulls everyone in. The cheapest Lamborghini you can buy is not a new one. A new Lamborghini starts north of $200,000, and the cheapest new one, the Urus SUV, is well past that. But on the used market, the door swings wide open. The car you're looking for is the Gallardo, Lamborghini's entry-level V10 built from 2003 to 2013. It was the best-selling Lamborghini in history until the SUV came along, with over 14,000 built across a whole decade. And that volume is exactly why you can now find early ones advertised under $100,000, with the very cheapest, highest mileage listings dipping to around $79,000. A genuine, honest-to-goodness Lamborghini with a screaming V10 behind your head for less than the price of a loaded Porsche 911 or a nicely optioned BMW M4. That is the hook, and it is a spectacular one. Now let's talk about the line, and the sinker too, because both are coming. Because here is the first rule of cheap supercars, the one that governs this entire video. The cheapest one is cheap for a reason, and the reason is almost always waiting for you in the service bay. A Gallardo that sits at the very bottom of the market is not a gift, it's a warning. It usually means high mileage, a patchy service history, or most dangerously, a long list of expensive jobs the previous 3 owners kept deferring, hoping to make them your problem instead. And on a Lamborghini, those deferred jobs are not small, and they don't stay hidden for long. The seller's incentive is to move the car before the bill comes due. Your incentive is to catch it before you own it. This is the whole game with the cheapest supercar. You're not really buying a car, you're buying the previous owner's decisions. Good and bad, and the cheapest cars tend to carry the worst ones. A well-kept Gallardo and a neglected one can look identical in the photos and be $20,000 apart in reality, invisible until you're the one holding the keys. Let's start with the one that has ended more Gallardo dreams than any other, the clutch. Most Gallardos use an automated manual gearbox Lamborghini called e-gear, and its clutch is a wear item that lives a hard life. When it goes, a replacement at an authorized dealer runs somewhere between $8,000 and $15,000. Read that again. The clutch alone can cost you a fifth of what you paid for the entire car. And here's the cruel part. A car being sold cheap is very often a car whose clutch is nearly finished, which is precisely why it's being sold at all. Before you buy, you check something called the e-gear snap, a readout of how much clutch life is left. And if the seller won't show you, walk away. There's a reason forum veterans tell every newcomer the same thing. Budget for the clutch before you budget for the car. A gated manual car is a little cheaper to service in this respect, and generally more robust, but even a manual clutch replacement has been quoted north of $15,000 at a dealer, because on these cars the gearbox often has to come out, and the labor alone is brutal. The clutch, though, is only the beginning. Then there's the service schedule, which does not care how little you paid. The annual service, oil, filters, brake fluid, runs around $1,000 to $2,000 at a specialist, and multiples of that at a dealer. Every 4 years a bigger service comes due, often $3,000 or more. On some cars, certain jobs require the engine to come out of the car entirely. And the moment an engine out service is on the table, you're looking at a 5-figure afternoon before a single broken part is even replaced. Tires are a couple $1,000s a set, and the soft compound wears fast. Insurance on a supercar is a serious annual line, and fuel economy sits around 14 to 16 miles per gallon on premium only. So let's do the honest math on your bargain. You buy the cheapest Gallardo on the market for $85,000 because you couldn't resist. In year 1, the tired clutch finally lets go. There's $12,000. The deferred major service the last owner skipped, another $6,000. A set of tires, $2,000. Annual service, insurance, and fuel, call it $8,000 more. You have spent nearly $30,000, more than a third of the entire purchase price, in a single year on a car you were absolutely certain was a bargain. Make no mistake, The bargain Lamborghini isn't a car you bought, it's a bill you agreed to with a delay built in. And the delay is the dangerous part, because it lets the fantasy survive just long enough for you to sign. Nobody hands over $85,000 imagining the $30,000 to come. They imagine the sunset drives and the sound of the V10. The costs arrive later, quietly, one repair at a time, until the math you should have done up front does itself in your bank account instead. And this is the central paradox at the very heart of the cheapest supercar. The purchase price and the ownership cost move in opposite directions. The cheaper the car, the older and more worn it tends to be, and the more it costs to keep alive. The most expensive Gallardo to own is very often, almost as a rule, the cheapest one to buy. The people who get burned are the ones who stretched to afford the sticker and had nothing left for the upkeep. And the internet is littered with their stories. Dream cars parked in garages, undrivable, because the owner couldn't face another 5-figure repair. So who should actually do this? Only one kind of person. The buyer who treats the purchase price as the down payment and keeps a serious repair fund in reserve. The rule among people who understand these cars is brutal and simple. Never buy the cheapest one. Buy the best one you can afford. The one with a full service history, a fresh clutch, and receipts, even if it costs $130,000 instead of $85,000. That $45,000 premium upfront is almost always cheaper than the deferred repairs hiding inside the bargain car. In the world of cheap supercars, the expensive one is the cheap one. Subscribe if breakdowns like this are why you're here, because here comes the twist. And yet, here is the twist that flips this entire story, and it's a good one. The Gallardo has stopped falling. For years it was the poster child for terrifying depreciation, a car that lost value like a stone. But it has now bottomed out, and the best examples are starting to climb, because the market has finally realized what the Gallardo actually is. The last analog, naturally aspirated V10 baby Lamborghini, the car that saved the company in the 2000s, and increasingly a future modern classic. The angle within the angle is the gearbox. Lamborghini offered the Gallardo with a proper gated 6-speed manual, that beautiful metal gate and clacking shifter, and it built very few of them. Those manual cars, once the harder sell, are now among the most sought-after modern Lamborghinis on earth, trading at a huge premium over the e-gear cars, sometimes double, precisely because the manual is extinct and never coming back. Buy the right Gallardo, a clean, low-mileage, well-maintained gated manual, and you're not buying a depreciating liability at all. You're buying an appreciating piece of history that happens to do nearly 195 miles an hour. And now the risk, because even the appreciation angle has a catch. The Gallardo's climb rests on it being genuinely usable and genuinely maintained, and a rising value does nothing to lower the running costs. A collectible Gallardo needs exactly the same expensive clutch, the same engine-out service, the same specialist care as an ordinary one, and a car that sits in a collection barely driven can actually develop problems from disuse, seals drying out, batteries dying, fluids aging. There's a darker risk too. The cheapest cars are cheap because the market has priced in the fear. And if you buy wrong, a salvage title car, a flood car, an amateur repair, you can pour $20,000 into a machine that will never be worth what you spent, because the moment its history is questioned, its value collapses and never recovers. In this corner of the market, provenance isn't a nicety. It's the difference between an asset and a money pit. Underneath all of it sits the same machinery every corner of this brand runs on. The cheap Gallardo was still, when new, a car Lamborghini sold at a fat margin. Every clutch, every service, every part flows back through the Lamborghini network at exotic prices, which means the company keeps earning from that car for its entire life, long after the first owner is gone. And the badge itself does the heavy lifting. It's the thing that lets a decade-old car with a shared Audi Fadi 10-command Lamborghini money, and the thing that keeps the best examples climbing while ordinary cars bleed. Time to pull it all together and answer the actual question. How much does the cheapest Lamborghini really cost you? Let's run the math on 3 realistic versions. Option 1, the trap. You buy the cheapest e-gear Gallardo you can find, $85,000, no service history, and skip the inspection because you're in love. Over 3 years, the deferred repairs land one after another, and you spend $40,000 to $60,000 keeping it alive, more than half the purchase price again. You either sell it in frustration at a loss, taking a bath on both the car and the money you sank into it, or you become one more cautionary tale on a forum, a garage-bound bull nobody can afford to fix and nobody wants to buy. Option 2, the smart buy. You ignore the cheapest listings entirely and pay $130,000 for the best documented Gallardo you can find. fresh clutch, full history, receipts. Your running costs are a predictable $8,000 to $12,000 a year. The car holds its value, and you actually drive and enjoy it. You paid more to spend less, which is the single most counterintuitive and most correct rule in the entire used supercar world. This is the only sane way to own a cheap Lamborghini, and the people who actually keep theirs for years are almost all in this camp. Option 3, the collector's play. You hunt down a gated 6-speed manual in clean condition, pay a premium over the automatics, and hold it. Your maintenance costs are the same as any Gallardo, but your car appreciates while everyone else's holds or falls. You didn't buy the cheapest Lamborghini, you bought the smartest one, and let the market reward you for understanding the difference between a low price and a good deal, which in this world are almost never the same thing. So here's the verdict. The cheapest Lamborghini is the most honest test in all of car ownership because it separates the people who want the badge from the people who understand the bill. Buy it wrong, and it's the single fastest way to be humbled by a car in the entire industry. Buy it right, and it's proof that the smartest money in supercars was never chasing the lowest price. Most cars ask you what they cost. The cheapest Lamborghini asks a much sharper, much more revealing question, and it asks it slowly over years. Not can you afford to buy the cheap one, but can you actually afford to own it? Subscribe, and we'll do this again next week with the next machine that costs almost nothing to buy and quietly, relentlessly, everything to actually keep on the road.